sobbing alone, stranded in an airport lounge 800 miles away. Tanya Ednan-Laperouse will never recover from the moment she had to say goodbye to her dying daughter in a heartbreaking phone call. Husband Nadim, on a plane with 15-year-old Natasha when she suffered a fatal reaction to sesame seeds in a Pret A Manger baguette, placed his mobile phone on the pillow next to her head on a hospital bed. In the couple's first interview since the tragedy, Tanya, 51, said, "I got the call from Ned to say she was going to die within the next 2 minutes and I had to say goodbye to her. And I did. I said, Tashi, I love you so much, darling. I'll be with you soon. I'll be with you." Tanya and Nadim Ednan-Laperouse lost their daughter in the most horrific circumstances. Image, Ian McGilgam. When you've got children, you don't want them to be without you, do you? They haven't flown the nest. They still need you. I fell to the ground. I couldn't talk. I was engulfed with grief. I knew then she was gone, she was dead. 2 years on, and after an inquest revealed Pret A Manger had been warned 9 times about inadequate labeling on the baguettes in 12 months, the couple's pain is still raw. Nadim, 53, who has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, said he considered suicide because the agony of their daughter's death had become too much to bear. Natasha was just 15 when she died 2 years ago. Image, Neuropics. He said, "I was suicidal. I wrote 2 letters. I thought I couldn't cope. The agony for a while was too hard to bear," and Tanya said, "I spent a year on the sofa. I was in such deep shock. I couldn't move. I'd find myself looking at photos of Natasha all day. We haven't touched her room. Her clothes are still on the floor. Her homework's on the table. We haven't unpacked her school bag or the bag she took that day. I still look for her on the street, in public places. Adidas trainers, long dark hair in a bun. I look for her, but she's just lost. You don't know how you carry on living." Natasha had her first allergic reaction aged 6 months to a banana, then had a reaction to a sesame breadstick aged 2. She was allergic to a range of foods from tree nuts to dairy and eggs, and the couple say she always took care to check food labels. Natasha Ednan-Laperouse with her mum, Image, Neuropics. On the day she died, in July 2016, Nadim and Natasha were flying to Nice for a 4-day break at her grandparents' flat on the Côte d'Azur as a summer treat. She was with best friend Bethany, and it was the first time Natasha had been on holiday without her mother. In Heathrow's Terminal 5 they bought the £3.45 Pret baguette before boarding their British Airways flight. Tanya said, Nadim trusted Natasha knew what to look for and she picked up this artichoke, olive and tapenade baguette. She loved all of those things. On the back of the wrapper, Nadim insists, was a sticker listing the ingredients, but with no mention of sesame seeds. Natasha ate a Pret baguette from Heathrow, which contained sesame seeds. Image, Birmingham Mail. At the inquest, the manager of the branch denied the stickers were ever used. Soon after eating the baguette on the plane, Natasha developed an itchy throat, skin welts, breathing problems, anaphylactic shock and, finally, suffered cardiac arrest. A junior doctor, who graduated only the day before, performed CPR. But he was not told about a defibrillator on board, a failing highlighted at the inquest. As soon as they landed, Natasha was rushed to Nice's hospital Louis Pasteur 2 and Nadim called Tanya. I was pottering around at home when the landline rang, she said. Nad was crying and he said, Tanya, you've got to come out here. Natasha's not well and something terrible has happened. You got to come out. The couple have struggled with guilt following their daughter's tragic death. Image, Ian McGilgam. Initially I thought it's not that bad. I wanted reassurance. But Nad was saying, no, start looking for flights. It's really bad. He said I had to drop everything and come now. I was getting constant updates from Nad, which kept getting worse. Paramedics meeting the plane had brought a defibrillator which didn't work, and had to grab another from the airport. Her heart would restart, only to stop again. Her ribs were broken from the effort, and the paramedics themselves were exhausted. They couldn't get a tube down her throat as it was so swollen. I was praying, please God, don't take her from me. I was praying so hard. When I got to Stansted Airport, the lady at the check-in desk said, "I'm sorry, the flight's full." Tanya Ednan-Laperouse tried to see her daughter in person before she died. Image, Ian McGilgom. I started crying. I said, "You've got to get me to France, my daughter's dying." It was the first weekend of the school holidays, and days earlier a terror attack in Nice had killed 86 people. But Tanya managed to get on a flight, leaving at 6 p.m. "Somehow, she got me on," said Tanya. "I was sobbing quietly the whole time, in a bubble and not aware of anything beyond it. I was holding it together, trying not to fall apart. Then, we were told there was a delay for 6 hours. We wouldn't leave till midnight. I was constantly crying. There were people with children and I didn't want to scare them. I tried to move away from people." Ironically, if the flight had been on time she would not have been able to make her final phone call to Natasha. After saying goodbye, she said, "I had to just sit there and wait, knowing this was all unfolding. I couldn't howl or scream or cry because I was surrounded by people. I had to really hold it together. I got on the plane. No one knew. I had my head down and tears were falling the whole time. There was no blame or anger. All I wanted to do was put my arms around Nad. I felt so much of his pain with mine." Nadim was in hospital at his daughter's side when she died. He said, "She was stone cold, and the last thing she'd ever said to me was, 'Daddy, Daddy, help me. I can't breathe.' I just held her and kept talking to her. Minutes later she was gone and it was over." Nadim still cannot stop replaying the day of horror constantly in his mind. "I hate myself for it. I blame myself," he said. "Because I love my daughter. I really love my daughter. I'd die 1,000 times, crucified, for her to live. I spent 15 years nurturing the most precious thing in my entire life. As a human being, there's nothing more important than that. In that moment, how could it be that I failed her? I will live with that until I die." Tanya and Nadim Ednan-Laperouse are campaigning to get better labeling on foods. Image, Ian McGilgom. Tanya tries to console him, "At least she was with one of us. She had her dad with her and she knew how loved she was." The next day the couple visited the city mortuary. "She was lying there, stone cold," said Nadim. "She'd been in a fridge. I hugged her and kissed her. The shape's the same but the color's wrong. She was gone." You really believe in a soul when you see that. But her body was all I had left. The couple, from Fulham, West London, who have a son Alex, 15, have now returned to work at Nadim's toy company Wow. But they are determined that their daughter's death will help stop further tragedies. At Natasha's inquest last week, West London coroner Dr. Sean Cummings criticized Pret A Manger for failing to properly alert customers to potentially fatal allergens, calling signs inadequate. Natasha Ednan-Laperouse died at a hospital in Nice. Image, PA. Nad has accused the law of playing Russian roulette with her life and wants changes in legislation which currently exempts food products made on or near the premises from allergy labeling. Tanya said, "We now know she didn't die on our watch, she died on Pret's watch, and all thanks to the absence of 2 little words on the packaging of her sandwich. If the label had listed sesame seeds, Natasha wouldn't have touched it and she'd still be alive. People need to be aware that they can be deadly. Foods can kill certain people, even if you see them as safe. Society has to take allergies more seriously. If everyone takes it seriously, Pret would have taken it seriously. We want to change to the labeling laws. Couple may make a civil claim against Pret A Manger. Image, Neuropics. Everything should be labeled wherever possible. Pret should not be excluded. As part of their campaign, the family is considering making a civil claim against Pret A Manger, a global chain worth around £1.5 billion. "We just had to get to this point first," said Tanya. Now, Pret has got an opportunity to do something really good. They screwed up, yes. But they could lobby for change to our labeling laws. They could help this happen. Now they know it can't continue. If they try to, they'll have a big fight on their hands, certainly from us. So why not try to do something good about it?